Wolfpack, what's going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, RotoStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves. Here with your Week 17, your championship.
Hey, no last final intro?
What's that?
Forgot the final intro.
True. Fine. Everybody, you can enjoy these 20 seconds of a beautiful intro song.
Kuhn is the fullback with the first and goal. Kuhn gets the call. Pyle trying to make his way in for the touchdown. What a great second effort.
So I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty like blood. So ain't got no twist in my head, but I'm still dreadful.
The final tailgate for Week 17, your championship week. Back in our usual stables here, not together, sadly, like we were last week at Old Planners. What a time, though, huh, CJ? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. From what I remember, it was a good time.
I went to pick up our payment from the bar the other day, and Leah was just like, I remember seeing your friend at the Anchor. I'm not sure you could speak anymore at that point.
No.
It's like, yeah, it seems about right. That was a wild Sunday. I've been recovering pretty much all week from that. It was an awesome time, though, so thank you, everybody out there that came live to support us at Old Planners. Much better turnout, I think, given the times that I expected. So we had a blast, but now we are home safe here for your championship week. Probably a little more clear-headed than we were last week at this point. So welcome on in, guys. Let's get those championship rosters perfect. I, of course, am the Wolf. With me, as always, on Sunday mornings is my man, CJ. How we doing today? How'd the holidays go for you, brother?
Oh, not too bad. Unfortunately, I'm not in any championship, but how about you?
Yeah, I'm in one, like, pretty inconsequential one. Like, I'm happy to be in one, but my main league, I got steamrolled last week. There was nothing I could do. Lost Cook, lost Kelsey. You know, I put up 130 even still, so not even a bad week, but the team I faced had like 190. You know, T. Higgins, Damian Hare, everybody just had like 3 touchdown days against me.
Yeah, I went into Monday night tied, and then it was Waddle against Parker, and Parker just put up a goose egg.
Yeah, exactly. Did not work out for you. Damn. But if you're here, if you're asking questions, it likely means you are in a championship, or maybe you have some DFS. I'd love to talk some DFS because that's what I've also been focusing a lot on this week, given I was knocked out of my main league. Most of my other leagues, a big consequence, sadly. But if you want to talk some DFS, whatever it is, get those questions on in, get those thumbs up on in. We'll cover really quickly all the news you need to know for DFS for your season long. Talk about some streamers that may have emerged because of that news. And then, as always, we will get to all of your questions. Easy ways to support us. As always, that thumbs up, free and easy way. We're about like 20 subscribers at this point away from our goal of 2K. Please consider making those final push for us if you haven't already hit that sub button, or if you got some people who are knocked out in your leagues and you can share it with us at this point, or you're knocked out and you don't mind sharing it with the people in your title game. However you can help us grow and get to that 2K goal, it would be so appreciated, Wolfpack. So please consider doing that. The last other way you can support us is, of course, that super chat to jump the line, to get ahead of everybody. What I'll do is I'm going to rip through the notes first. So if I miss any super chats right now, I just want to get through all that news, get through all the streamers, because that might, prompt some thinking about a new super chat. And then, of course, we'll get to all the questions, of course, prioritizing super chats first, but we'll just go in order as we get them. And the last way, of course, is to check out Prize Picks. We'll get into our favorite Prize Picks of the day. But if you're here listening, waiting for us to get to your question, check out that Prize Picks app. It's beautiful. It's great. So user-friendly. I think there's some locks this week. I'm going for that big 5-timer. I love the touchdown or bust bets today. There's so many good ones that I think are bound to find the end zone. So we'll go through our favorite picks. But if you want to check that out while you're waiting for us to get to you, use code RSJ. Deposit up to $100 to get a $100 match on that. And if you go over $20, we get a nice little return. It would be so appreciated if you want to consider a way to support us. Alrighty, all the promo out there. Let's get through all this news as quickly as we can, Wolfpack. Lots of absences at the quarterback position because of COVID. Probably the biggest one being Kirk Cousins. He will be out tonight against that Green Bay matchup, which just kind of sucks for everybody involved. Should have been a good shootout style game last time we saw these two teams meet. Now we got Sean Mannion starting. I mean, probably a much less appealing overall game. I'm getting a lot of questions like, do I bench Justin Jefferson now? Come on. At this point, you've got to just stick with your studs. Oftentimes, the backup quarterback, it almost like doesn't help, but sometimes they just lock in on a guy, the guy they know is going to get open it with regularity. They just kind of simplify the route tree, the target outlook for this backup. I still imagine Jefferson gets peppered. Where it does get more interesting is a guy like KJ Osborne, who was one of my favorite streams of the week coming into the night. Great rapport with Kirk Cousins. Who knows how that looks with Sean Mannion? Now, maybe they've had the backup. You always see that like practice squad backup mentality where they already have a rapport established. Could that be Osborne and Mannion? Maybe. Who's here to speculate? I have no clue what that might be. I'd be a lot less optimistic, though, about getting KJ Osborne, who, again, I recommend a lot on Thursday, and just in general is one of my Hail Marys of the week. You can't feel nearly as good with him. And same with Conklin, too, who's likely to play, but with the backup quarterback. Jefferson, lock him in. Of course, Dalvin Cook, like they'll probably lean on him more, even if the touchdown chances are a little bit less with a backup quarterback at play. But other than those two, I'm probably avoiding this Vikings team. Do you have any different read on the situation, CJ?
No, yeah, I was gonna say Osborne's definitely a sit for me at most spots.
Yeah,
Mannion's
which is too bad because I love the kid. Like he's been money every
great.
time he gets a shot. But
yeah, I mean, obviously, you're not sitting either Cook or Jefferson, and yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've got, and I mean, the questions I'm getting, like Jefferson versus OBJ, like I get it. And OBJ is one of my favorite plays of the day, one of my favorite prize picks play of the day. We'll talk about in a little bit. So I get that too. But like at the end of the day, it's Jefferson. He's the reason you're in the title, and like a backup quarterback is not the reason. If it was a bad ankle injury and he might be a scarecrow, like okay, but a backup quarterback, they'll still get him the rock. I'm not benching him unless you have. He's my wide receiver 9. So if you have 3 top 10 guys, okay, maybe you can bench Jefferson. But otherwise, let us know if you actually do have a worry about him. But there's a very good chance we'll be saying going him. Lamar Jackson's also, again, unlikely to go. But at least this week, we do get Tyler Huntley back. I mean, last week, who was the backup? Jeff, what was his name? The guy that goes to every freaking team in the league. And he actually did pretty solid.
Josh Johnson.
Yes,
Josh Johnson, yeah.
Who actually ended up being a pretty good fantasy play. Over 20 fantasy points on DraftKings. So I had a solid day on DraftKings with him as my guy. I either went to him or I went to Burrow, which obviously the Burrow lineups, I wish I had my main lineups. I had my Johnson ones as. Burrow went bananas, though. Either way, Lamar Jackson's unlikely to go. So Tyler Huntley comes in. We've seen him. Last time he started, 4 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 2 through the air. There is fantasy upside here, and the matchup isn't so bad. Ultimately, I kind of like targeting the other side of this, the Rams, though. I like going to OBJ. I like going to Stafford, my number 2 quarterback of the week, given how bad the secondary is. And they actually lost their Marlon Humphreys, obviously we knew. Then last week, they lost their number 1 quarterback that was still okay. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he broke his ribs. And he was the only guy that was like doing anything. He was taking out whoever he was on at somewhat of a clip, not even fully. Now they're down to like their bottom 4 corners, and it's abysmal. So I really think Stafford, OBJ, obviously Cooper Kupp going for that record of 2K yards. He's a 266? Is that right, CJ?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about with Zenos. I think it
probably won't get it today, but like it's just scary the fact that it's not 100% off the table that he might get there. I still think this is what my read on the situation is for like at least DFS wise. I'd rather pay up for Taylor and then fade Kupp, which is of course terrifying. You can clip this when he has like 50 points and make fun of me all you want. I'm actually going to pivot to OBJ at 5,700 though, with that mindset that we saw Harbaugh triple team. He even admitted to it. Like we triple team Devontae Adams to take him out and let the others beat us. And of course, MVS did beat them. I'm thinking they might try a similar approach. I don't think you can take Kupp out. He'll still probably get at least 20. Maybe he does get to 250 yards. Who knows? He could go bananas. It's a very risky fade. But if it's one or the other pay up, I prefer Jonathan Taylor myself is where I'm going.
Yeah,
I really like OBJ at very
there.
low ownership, under 5% they're expecting today. Top 20 receiver for him. He's actually been the wide receiver 14 since coming over to the Rams. So even with Kupp being this ridiculous monster, OBJ has still been a solid option. This could be the game. 20-plus yards, 40-plus yards. Ravens got the most receptions of both. I could see a big OBJ day. Maybe even Van Jefferson's the one that ends up doing it. But either way, you're targeting those guys and you're avoiding I guess you can stream Huntley if you need. He's my QB 15 on that other side of the ball. We do have Jimmy G out. Trey Lance Time, top 12 quarterback. He's my QB 11. More so the rushing upside. No team gives up more yards on the ground than the Texans. And so Trey Lance has a real shot at rushing for 100 yards today. At 4,800 on DraftKings, a smash play, but in general, a viable streamer in your leagues. Could hit the weapons a little bit down with a less accurate thrower, but he's been apparently ripping it up in practice, so I'm excited to see what he does. Carson Wentz has been activated. Ideally, you're not using him even in 2 QB leagues, but it does give a little bit clearer value to guys like Pittman, obviously Jonathan Taylor. It's nice to have your main quarterback back there. And last and least is Jared Goff. He is out Tim Boyle, yay, Tim Boyle time. He actually was not horrendous against the Falcons last week. He moved the ball. At least ASB stayed afloat. Now you got DeAndre Swift back, who had, I think, 130 yards and like 3/4 of action with Boyle last time out. So I think Swift right in play. Most receptions allowed to running backs are the Seahawks. Well, I guess we can just jump to DeAndre Swift here. He's going to be a quote-unquote cut loose. I really like him. He's a top, I think, running back 12 or 13 for me. So a fringe RB1. And that's because I really like all the 12. Like, it's not because I don't think he's an RB1. They do give up the most receptions to running backs. Obviously, the script could be peppering Swift. I think he's probably a guy we'll get a lot of questions on. And I'm higher than the ECR on him by like seven or 8. I think he's going to be a beast today. Love him as a lower-owned GPP, like pivot away from, so popular plays. Like, I mean, I do like Sony Michel a lot too. I can't say I don't like him, but David Montgomery, Ronald Jones, these guys are getting 25, 30% ownership. I kind of prefer a guy like Swift if he's going to be, less than half or a third of that ownership at a cheaper price. That's kind of where I'm pivoting to a lot in DFS, and certainly starting him where I have him in leagues. Going now to other running backs, though. Antonio Gibson is out. Patterson, you really have to be desperate to put your championship hopes on this backup running back who hasn't really looked anything special. He'll see volume. I mean, they have nobody out. McKissick's out. Gibson's now out. Like, he'll probably see 20-plus touches, but it's a good front seven for the Eagles. I would not be touching him. He's like running back 33. I'd even prefer going to the team he's facing, the Eagles, with Jordan Howard. Even though he's up in the air, he's expected to play. I think he's a great touchdown bet. We know how heavy these guys have been on the run. These last 4 weeks, they've really, the last half of the season, really, with catering this offense to Jalen Hurts, they've been taking off over 30-plus carries in multiple games, most of their games, to the running backs. So I expect him. I think Scott, very viable. I have both those guys a few spots ahead of Jarrett Patterson. If you're desperate for a streamer at running back, those would be the guys I look to first as my favorite stream plays today. But hopefully you don't need them with a bunch of people returning, such as Eli Mitchell, probably going to play as the expectation. He's facing Atlanta. No, it's not even Atlanta. He's facing Houston. Sorry, I need to correct that really quickly. Very viable against Houston. It's a 4:00 game, so you do have to wait that one out. But all the expectations, Schefter, everybody tweeting, he should be out there. And I think he's a top 15 guy. They said they're going to give him as much as he can handle, and we've seen him come off injury and see 30 touches. So I get he didn't play in a month, but if you get 20-plus touches today against Houston, he's going to be going for over 100 and a TD. So he's locked in the lineups in most cases. Let us know if you have Eli Mitchell questions, but I love him. A backup running back that could be actually important here is Mark Ingram, unlikely to go. The only reason that matters is not because you were playing Ingram, but now you lock in Kamara, who's coming off a dud week. Getting some questions here. Do I start Kamara this week? Of course you start Kamara this week, especially with Ingram unlikely to go now. You can lock him into 30-plus touches. And if you're trying to get contrarian in DFS, you're getting a 30-plus touch Kamara on under 5% ownership right now is what they're saying at 7,900 to under 8K price. We know the Panthers, they've been a decent run D all year, but lately that team has just completely quit. So you could get a nice play in Kamara at under 5%. You told me you're getting Kamara for 30-plus touches and he was going to be under 5%. Almost any time he'd be a smash. I get this week there's a lot of chalky, good running backs, but that could be a nice way to get contrarian for yourself. Darrell Henderson also, Darrell Williams rather, not Henderson. He will be in as the lead starter with Clyde Edwards-Helaire out. He's been over 20 fantasy points in 2 of his 4 starts, 10 and 8 in the others. So, is he a lineup lock? Probably not. I'd probably rather have like Eli Mitchell, a guy who's going to get it done more. But ultimately, still a very viable play today with a high ceiling, with a solid floor. I think that game will put a lot of points up on the board. And since he's not like a great run D, even though the defense is pretty solid, they can get run on. Catches the ball a ton. I think he's a great play today in my top 20 running backs as well. Last 2 running back notes before a handful. We have more running back notes than anything, so these will be quicker. But Cam Akers won't be going. Just locks in a nice, solid workload for Michelle, who's had over 20 points in 2 of his last 4. He's seen 19-plus carries, I think all 4. Guy's been just a volume machine, and I think they shouldn't have any problem putting up points. A good bet to find the end zone. But I do think Akers is a nice locker room addition. I got a good question on Thursday, like who's like a good fantasy locker room guy to stash at the end of the roster. I thought Akers was a solid one. My personal favorite, and I'll hear some of yours, CJ. I love Frank Gore. He's viable addition in all formats right now. Great. You got to add that type of presence to your locker room, despite him getting knocked out. That does lessen the appeal a little bit, his boxing performance, but still, I think he's a great locker room presence. So I'm a big fan of adding him. Is there any locker room guys that you would be adding for good luck at the stretch run, CJ?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any. There's actually the worst one ever that was on Twitter a few weeks ago with Demaryius Thomas.
Oh, I
the
know.
worst.
Yeah, that one's going around
That's
for
on
sure.
the weird fantasy Twitter. So.
Yeah, people like starting him, which is strange. Like I get it. It's obviously sentimental. If he's out there in leagues, like definitely a good viable like locker room presence to add to the roster. But people put him in starting lineups was kind of nuts.
Yeah, it was a little
But,
strange.
yeah, I get that one. Demaryius Thomas, solid name to toss out there. I love the Gardner Minshew toss out too,
I
like
like
just
that too.
the fire he plays with. So a couple of names to toss out there. Let us know if you guys have any fantasy locker room additions for sure. One guy that is probably going to be back on the field is Kareem Hunt. I don't think you can trust him. It's Monday Night Football for the first part. So, like, what if he doesn't play? You're locked into, like, maybe Dearness Johnson. That'd be a tough situation to put your fantasy hopes to. But it's just something that to take a note that he might be out there. Just a few receiver notes here. Cortland Sutton's the last man standing for the Broncos. We have no Jerry Jeudy, no Tim Patrick today, which does give this guy, he's been in such a bust these last few weeks. But with Drew Lock, who likes to sling it with no other weapons to throw to, again, you'd be desperate to probably go to him, but he's dropped in a lot of leagues, and I could see him putting up a solid day, and only 4,500 on DraftKings, definitely a viable salary saver in those types of formats. Let us know if you have a Cortland Sutton question, because I really don't know that, I think he's got to be considered this week, given there's no one else to throw to. It is scary, it is sketchy, but he's had monster games with Drew Lock in the past. He had almost a 30% target share without Jeudy earlier in the season. He was a very viable wide receiver, high-end wide receiver too, with some huge games earlier in the season. I could see him capping the season off with a big one with nobody else there. Am I nuts, CJ? That's what I wanted to get your take on with Cortland Sutton, given that he's been so useless lately.
Yeah,
but no one else there.
Yeah, I mean, I would maybe in DFS just like in a lineup or two. I can't trust him. It's so tough. He's just been terrible. It's really no worries about it.
I know. I think the last man standing narrative I don't hate at all. A guy in that similar boat, though, I have him ranked neck and neck, is Marquez Callaway because Traquan Smith is out. So another kind of last man standing narrative for Callaway, who did see, I believe, 11 targets last time Taysom Hill was there. Definitely over 100 yards, over 20 fantasy points. 4,600 on DraftKings, another play in that low salary range. I know Sutton will be a whole lot more popular, but Traquan Smith being out does give Callaway some boom upside at a much lesser ownership. So he's someone to consider, as is Gabriel Davis. This is one of the notes we're kind of still waiting on. Most things are locked in. We're just still waiting to see what is Emmanuel Sanders' status here. He's questionable. I don't think he matters at all himself, other than that he's going to absorb snaps from a guy like Gabriel Davis if he is in. So we do want to check that one, because at $5K on DraftKings and just in general in fantasy lineups, Gabriel Davis could really be a monster. He had 3 touchdowns his last 2 games, over 20 fantasy points last time out there. Against Atlanta now too. I'd love to roll out Gabriel Davis, but it's really tough to do if Sanders is starting and we don't know what that snap share is going to look like. It becomes a whole lot sketchier in that case. Have you seen anything on Sanders yet, CJ? He was one of the few ones that was up in the air.
No, not yet. There is going to be a ton of snow in Buffalo today. Does that worry you at all?
I don't know. Not really. I don't think so. It's not like the winds of that Patriot. Unless it's like, Is it the winds? I haven't really looked at the weather.
I don't think so. I think it was like 15.
Because that's when it gets nuts, is when it's like windy like that. And actually, even in that horrible weather game against the Pats, Davis was the one to find the end zone for them. So
that's true.
He is the one that's been as viable as can be. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on Emmanuel Sanders' status.
We actually have a super chat about Gabriel Davis, if you want to go to that.
Yeah, so we'll make sure to hit those. As I was saying, I'm going to get through all the news, then I'll hit all the super chats. Thank you guys for being patient with that. We just like to get through all this so you can hear our takes.
Sanders is out. The chat.
Sanders is officially out?
Yep.
Awesome. So Gabriel Davis does get a nice bump in my rankings. I believe this morning I updated it with assuming that he was out, which had Gabriel Davis coming in right behind Terry McLaurin, honestly, maybe above Terry McLaurin. I am plus 24 ECR on him, so like much higher at wide receiver 29. He's ranked outside the top 50 somehow by the ECR, which I think is madness. So yeah, I'll go to the super chat on him just to kind of give you guys some perspective. And we do always promise we'll answer super chats first. So I want to be man of my word here. Gage Smith Davis for Wes. Good to see you, Wes. Thanks so much for the support. In this case, I go Davis. I do. I have him one spot ahead of Devonta, despite the big game from Devonta last week. I have Gage a few spots below, given he kind of fizzled out on you last week. Obviously, a full PPR, Gage gains a little value, as does Smith. But I roll Davis here. I really think against Atlanta, he's got a great bet to find the end zone. Probably the biggest risk to disappear, but I'm a huge Davis fan in this spot. What do you think of these three?
Yeah, I'm rolling Gabe there. I love him, but it'd be probably between Smith and Davis for me, and I'd go Davis.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way too. So Gabe Davis, especially with Emmanuel Sanders officially ruled out now, much higher upside, in my opinion, to play today. Just a couple last receiver notes for your Bucks. Both Evans and AB are expected to go. Smash them. They're both, how do you keep them out of your lineups at this point, given the matchup, given the productivity of it we've seen? Evans is supposed to be pretty limited today in that, like, he might be on a snap count, getting his win back. We've seen that with, like, Tyreek Hill playing under half the snaps last week. So it's not like you have to get him in, but I do have Evans as a top 20 receiver. It's tough to not play him this week against the Jets. And then AB, of course, is in a great spot as well. I also do love Gronk today. I know a lot of people worried about the dud he had last week, but we were talking about this earlier. He does have a 3 touchdown. If he hits 3 more touchdowns between now and the end of the year, big bonus coming his way. And Brady loves to take care of his guys. So I'm a big fan of Gronk today. AB has some incentives in his contract as well that he could hit. So I think Brady, even though he probably doesn't need to throw much against the Jets, Arians has no problem keeping that gas pedal down. And I know Brady wants to get his guys his stats. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Brady go like 405 touchdowns today just to get his guys their stats. We'll see. But that's kind of what I'm expecting from Brady today. On the other side of that, who run back if they're getting killed that bad on the Jets? Well, it won't be Crowder. He's doubtful. I do think Berrios becomes a viable stream, especially with guys like Palmer and them removed with everybody else coming off the COVID list. If you need Berrios, I think he's a viable play. I do want to point out, too, with Davis, I know I was just hyping him up. He was only 23% rostered entering the day. A lot of people cut him because they weren't expecting to have him this week, and then the COVID regulations got changed. So he could be out there in your leagues. And if you're desperate for a flex, if you're looking at like Jordan Howard or some crap, go for the upside of Gabriel Davis, in my opinion, all day. Go check if he's available. But Berrios is another viable stream. He's also only 3,700 on DraftKings. Will be one of the most popular value savers there. I personally would rather find the money to try to get to a guy like Cortland Sutton, who's more of an alpha than what Berrios is. But he's been finding the end zone with regularity lately, so consider him. And just the last couple notes here at tight end. Freiermuth off the injury report. He's right back into my top 15, maybe even top 12 tight ends. A great touchdown bet. Tyler Conklin is questionable, likely to go, but as we said at the top, unusable in my opinion with Mannion at quarterback. And then Jared Cook has been moved to the COVID-19 list just as of yesterday, so some people might have missed that. If you had him in there, you might got to get a backup plan. I really don't think that Steven Anderson is, you'd be desperate to go to him, but he is the last man standing in a Justin Herbert offense. He is 2,500 on DraftKings if you're looking for like a low-owned, nobody's going to be on him type of punt play. Steven Anderson could be your guy. He's seen 15 catches on 18 targets so far this year, so he's been efficient when used. And we obviously know Parham is on the injured reserve right now too. So could be a last man standing type of thing where he does find the end zone and pays off 2,500 on DraftKings. If you're desperate at tight end, he's a top 20 guy now. I'd rather have him than Conklin as an example, just because of the better offense, in my opinion. I think that's all the news. Is there any notes that you think I missed there, CJ?
Nothing. The inactives haven't came out yet. I think another 5 minutes or so, but right now you're good.
Yeah, if we hear anything else, we will let you guys know. Right until we got about 60 questions already. Love it. We'll get to all those. Right before we do, though, we want to promote Prize Picks one more time. We talked about it at the top, but we'll give you our favorite plays of the day. CJ, you've been running extremely hot, at least for football bets. I don't know how you've been doing on your other sports, but I know football-wise, you've been smoking it over there on Prize Picks. So again, before we give you our favorite picks, just consider downloading it wherever you use, whether it's Android, whether it's iPhone, or prizepicks.com. The layout is clean wherever you do it. The way it works is you can pick up to 5 bets. If you get all 5, you get 10 extra money. 4, you get 3 times your money. If you hit 3, you still get money back. So that's why it's better than just your standard prop bets. You can also do the power and try to get all 5 for 20 extra money if you don't want to hedge at all. And there's a lot of great bets today. The lines are so much softer than your typical books. Usually 10, some are like 10-yard differences. You get no juice on the touchdown or bust options, which I love a lot of them today. So CJ, with that in mind, and again, if you download code RSJ, not case sensitive, that does help your boys out to show the Wolfpack is viable to help you guys grow. $100 match as well. There's just so many reasons to join, especially because it has every sport out there if you like to bet on other sports as well. It's the best way to do prop bets, in my opinion. So use code RSJ, help your boys out. If you deposit 20 or more bucks, we get a nice little kickback, and it is so greatly appreciated. So yeah, at that point there, CJ, why don't you give us your favorite? I'll give you my favorite 5 of the day, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we were talking about this before, how much we love a lot of the touchdown scorers today. I'm going with Rojo as my number 1, of course, my guy. Carried 20 times against the Panthers last week. Jets get gashed on the ground. I like him for a touchdown. I know we also talked, it was like there's also Sony Michel's offered, Mixon's offered, a couple of the other stud running backs are offered. I also like Stephon Diggs to score a touchdown. We already talked about them kind of getting enough to
Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, come on now.
And he's also, I think he scored in like 7 of his last 10 games or something. And then Dallas Goedert over 4 receptions, faced Washington I think it was 2 weeks ago, and he had 9 targets, 7 receptions, 135. He's going to eat again. And Mahomes, I always love his rushing prop, and it's actually at 12.5. Usually I think on DraftKings, I want to say it's like 17 or 18.5. So that's really 1 rush for him. It's like 1 or 2 rushes. And he's hit double digits 11 out of the 16 games. So
not a bad dice roll at all. I have not, unfortunately, had much luck with QB rushing props on here. So I avoided that one, even though I love that one. I love all the other ones. You mentioned Ronald Jones, those reception bets. A guy I think is having a big day today is Odell Beckham. So you talk about stacking in DFS. I like to stack my prize picks, guys, if I'm going for 5 of 5. So I have stacked Matthew Stafford, 19 fantasy points. He's had over 20 in all but 2 contests. And now he gets this Ravens secondary. We just saw Burrow nuke for 525, and now they're down another corner. So I think Stafford is a lock for 20 plus. So 19 fantasy points. That's my favorite of the day.
Yeah.
And I stacked that with Odell Beckham at 11.5. I think, he's had that in pretty much every game he's been a Ram. So I love that one. Jalen Hurts at 18 fantasy points. That's another thing that's interesting about prize picks is you don't have to necessarily do a yardage, a touchdown or whatnot. You can kind of combine it all into fantasy points. Jalen Hurts for 18. That's something he's done in all but 3 games this year. He had over 30 against the football team just a couple of weeks ago. He'll hit that. David Montgomery and Ronald Jones, my other 2 touchdown scorers. But there's a ton of great touchdown scoring bets like Gronk. Gronk is at 5 receptions. I love that one too. AB, always love all his bets. There's just a ton. So I'm tossing out a bunch of different prize picks myself. Let me just pull up one more. I was looking at touchdowns that I really like today. Not rush yards. Hold on. Touchdowns. Sony Michel, touchdown bet. I think he's a great bet as well. And Joe Mixon, he's been a touchdown monster this season. So I really like that one as well. So those are just a handful of guys that we like in prize picks. Again, download that app, use code RSJ, $100 match. So appreciate it. It does support your boys. It shows we have a good loyal pack, and we know we do. If you guys want to do that, get you a nice fun way to do prop bets. The cleanest, funnest experience, in my opinion. Ton of again, $100 match. So many good reasons to go and do that. Alrighty, Wolfpack. We're now going to hit your mailbag up to about 70 questions now. Love it. Keep them coming on in. We'll hit everything we get, of course, prioritizing super chats that come in. So one way to support us, but a free, easy way to support us is that thumbs up button. Of course, also subscribing to the channel. We'll be doing live shows at least once a week in the off season too, covering topics, but also just kind of more fun stuff indeed. So please consider doing that. Right as we talk about a super chat, we
actually have one. We have a smaller one right before it too at 11:28.
Well, I don't think we could do anything but prioritize this one. $50 from Chillard over there. Thank you so much, my man. So appreciated. He's in the championship. Love to hear it, baby. Time to go get 20 years, year 20 of this league. We got to get him his title. So Chillard, we will definitely make sure we pay some attention to this one. Let's hear what you got.
So yeah, he wants to put his stamp on history in that 20-year league. Give him some flyer running back pickups, and also text him at 12:45 to make sure his lineup's good to go.
All right, he's Chillard. So with a super chat like this, I guess we can make sure to check your texts. Indeed, but looking for we did hook him up with some Hail Mary receivers at the Old Planners event with McKenzie. We talked about Pringle, who had 2 touchdowns. I don't remember who he eventually went with, but we were able to give you a couple good names last week. Now we're switching to a new position. I think these guys might not be out there. Your league, I know how deep your league gets. So the first spot I would look is the Eagles backfield with either Howard or Scott. Both are right around 20% rostered. I have an inkling they're probably gone in your league, but those are my favorite options at first. Right below them would then be Jarrett Patterson, who was about 5% rostered coming into this weekend. I think he's since doubled that because we got COVID with Antonio Gibson, but that's a good bet for about 15 plus touches. He'd be the next one I look at. I'm not really into Dare against the Pats. They're 15.5 underdogs. I guess the one way that does work out for him, though, is he could catch a ton of passes in mop-up duty. That being said, though, they don't do PPR, if I'm not mistaken, Children. I think you're a standard league. I don't know that, he racks up yards or racks up the touchdown today against the Pats, but he's going to get all the work he can handle. So that's another name to toss out there if we got to dig deeper. So I want to make sure we go as far. So let's start with those four, the Eagles guys, Dare and Jarrett Patterson. Any of those names that stand out to you, CJ, of the first four I tossed out there?
Always got to love Howard for a touchdown, especially in standard. And then I'd go Patterson just because he's going to get a really significant workload.
Yeah.
Those are probably my two favorites.
Perfect. If you got to go deeper than them, the first name I'll toss out is Keyshawn Vaughn against the Jets. Ronald Jones, obviously a great play today. He's in my top 6 running backs.
His run last week was sick.
He looked unbelievable. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I remember we were sitting there, old players like, who the hell is this? And he looked juicy as all hell. So one, just in mop-up duty, he could get some serious work against the worst running defense in the league. So I like that a lot about Keyshawn Vaughn this week, just the potential of mop-up duty. But there is also the added upside of if Ronald Jones fumbles in the early going of this game, we have seen how quickly he gets the axe from Bruce Arians. So imagine we get an early fumble from Ronald Jones. I guess that's probably why I should be a little more nervous about him. If we get an early fumble from Ronald Jones and then we get 20 touches for Keyshawn Vaughn against this Jets defense, he could go for 150 and 2 touchdowns. I actually was shocked that he's priced up to 5,300 on DraftKings, Keyshawn Vaughn, because I was looking at him okay, 4K pump play, I might get it to him. They priced in the fact that he could get mop-up duty or end up doing that. So I think Keyshawn Vaughn is an option. Chiller's kind of commenting in here. Vaughn's gone. Dare Howard, Scott Patterson also gone. So I don't even know who the hell else we could be looking for here. I mean, I don't know if Jamal Williams got dropped. I know Swift's back, but maybe he's God. So if those guys are all gone, I don't know what we're looking at, Chillard. I mean, let us know some names.
I'm trying to look at what about Derek Gore?
That was going to be the last one potentially to toss out there. Derek Gore has been very solid. Indeed. I'll check this right here. He had over 100 all-purpose yards last time out there, was 61 through the air, 43 on the ground, had a 50-yard reception. Looked like he just looks explosive. I know he's somehow not related to Frank Gore. He thought he'd be his grandchild at this point. But no, he's not related to him. He has 15 and 10 in standard leagues across his last 2. So I'm looking at standard scoring for you, Willard. Running back 12 and 21 out there. So I'd say Derek Gore also out there in most leagues would be a viable punt play. I mean, if we got to go even deeper, he said he's even owned. So so what the hell are you doing? How are you not picking up any of these guys? If you're this desperate for running backs, why do you have not one of them? I mean, I don't even know where else to go from there. The last name to maybe toss out there is who's the second string behind Patterson. I think it's Jonathan Williams for the football team.
Yeah.
He's fallen in the end zone a couple times these last couple weeks. If you're desperate, Chillard, that's what I would go for. We did see Phillip Lindsay get 13 carries last week out there. So 13 carries. He only had 4 points, but that's something if Phillip Lindsay's out there. But Chillard, we're tossing out names and it ends up they're all rostered. So I know we're kind of wasting time here. I guess it gives you a lot of everybody else out there. If you're this desperate, those are some running back streamers to look for. But let us know, Chillard, who are your options? Who is out there? Who is on your bench? Who's in there for your waiver wire? Because it's ugly. We're tossing out in my 60s here.
Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, Kyle. Honestly, against Houston, Kyle Juszczyk could find the end zone. That's really not that bad of a toss out if we're getting this deep. So let us know how far down you are. I mean, Devontae Booker, they could be destroying. They could be getting destroyed, and they might just take out Saquon and let him kind of do a little bit of run late. Amir Abdullah has been seeing a lot of catches, and that's how you'd attack New Orleans. So that's a name to toss out there. I don't hate the Juszczyk. type of toss out. And DJ Dallas against Detroit, like given how bad Detroit is, I know how good Penny's been, but we've seen Penny get taken out a lot, given injuries and stuff like that. And DJ Dallas scored just a week ago when that happened. So that's a possibility as well. So I know we spent a lot of time, but I mean, a $50 super chat, we have to give that a ton of priority. Let us know. I know you said some of those names. Somebody out there popped. There's a name I need. So we got somebody out there for you, Chillard. I don't know which one it was. Probably use Chuck is the best bet. But man, good luck. We got Matthew Murray tossing us a $50 almost super chat here. I'm trying to find his question.
Yeah,
AB or Deontay.
Down.
He's got a handful of questions.
It's-
So we're going to hit all of these for you, Murray. But man, you guys coming out with some huge super chats today. So appreciated it. The Christmas spirit must still be in the air, folks. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. Chillard, Murray, you guys are legends for that. So let's get into here. AB or Deontay? I'm leaning Deontay with the ankle concerns for AB. What if it flares up? What if they just don't need him today? There is the rub that like AB has an incentive clause. What was it, CJ? Like 230, 280, and like 3 touchdowns or something like that?
Yeah, it's like 13 receptions, 275, 280, and yeah, I think 3 touchdowns.
So, I mean, again, when we talk about Brady loves to get his poise, they're goods. I don't think he'll do, obviously, not all of that in a week.
I saw some tweet that was like, Tom wants to get AB to hit those incentives so he can move out of his house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get his roommate out. Give him some money to get his own place finally. So I do get that rub with AB that like he's gonna get peppered so he can get to these incentives. There's no doubt about it. I just still think Deontay Johnson, like I mean, he is just so steady all year. You got Big Ben last game at home narrative. Like I think they'll just let him chuck, and chuck some more. So I do have Deontay a few spots higher. He's my wide receiver 7 on the week. He's had 12 targets in all but like 4 games this year. So he's got the floor, and I kind of want to ride out that floor, especially with the risk that what if AB re-aggravates something. I go Deontay here, but I can totally see why this is a question. What do you think, CJ?
Yeah, I'm going with Deontay. He just gets so many targets, you can't pass that up. Especially with Evans coming back, they'll probably run the ball a bit. I think Snowy in New York, they probably just want to get in and get out. Yeah.
So we're both leaning Deontay there. It is tight. That's a really tough question, Murray, but we're both going Deontay. To answer your other questions that you've littered in here, Howard, Carter, or Patterson. I'm guessing again if that's Corderell, I think I go Corderell despite
down below he said the messages got messed up. He said it's Hubbard, Carter, or Patterson.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we got them all lined up here. Hubbard, Carter, or Patterson. I think it's Jarrett Patterson. If it's Corderell, I'm just going to go Corderell. I know he's been underwhelming, but he's still scoring touchdowns these last few weeks. I'm not benching him for a Carter or a Hubbard. The Carter narrative, obviously it's a horrible matchup against Tampa Bay on the first look, one of the best run Ds in the league, but they're also giving up a ton of receptions to backs in comeback mode, and the Jets really don't have anyone else to throw to. So I don't hate Carter. If it's Jarrett Patterson here, I would rather go with Michael Carter then. Over Jarrett Patterson. We just saw Carter rack up a career high 118 rushing yards. And he's not Mike White peppered. That was unbelievable. That stretch where he's getting like 40% target share. That was incredible. We haven't been seeing that since he came back, but that might be the narrative against this Bucs team. So if it's Jarrett Patterson that we're talking about, I would end up going Michael Carter. I'm not going Hubbard. He sucks. He's not good. He's been the most inefficient back in the NFL. And then he gets New Orleans, one of the hardest matchups for running backs. If I had to go back from that team, it'd be Abdullah, but I don't want either of them. So I'm going Corderell Patterson if that's who it is. It's crazy that there's 2 Pattersons now.
He said it's Jarrett later down.
Yeah, so I'm going Carter here. I lean Carter. I know the matchup is sketchy, but I don't trust Patterson at all. We haven't seen anything of the guy. And the few times we've seen him, he has not looked anything good other than preseason, but against like 4th stringers. So, I'm not going to Patterson. I'm going to go to Carter, that pass catching upside there. So that's where I'm leaning. Do you feel any differently, CJ?
No, I'm right there with both of you.
Alrighty, awesome. Thank you again so much for the 2 most generous super chats we've ever gotten. Over $50. You guys are legends. So thank you guys so much. That's the type of support that true, like all the support, $5. I'm not saying like, this isn't a good super chat. Of course, any super chat is so appreciated, but those are the genuine ones that like truly continue. All this stuff is moving us to that next level. It is so greatly appreciated, Wolfpack. Let's hit Pasta Prince. We got 2 more $5 super chats, then we'll get back to the top of the list. It sounds like Steve Michelson also sent $2 that we'll make sure to find as well there. So my bad. Those, for whatever reason, and this is not like me again trying to squeeze more money out of people, the $2 ones don't pop up at the top for some reason. So we have to kind of scan through the comments and find them. So if you guys did send those and we skipped it, my apologies. But of course, if someone sends $50, we're gonna go to the $50 one first. It's just, I'm sure you guys understand that. But let's get on to Pasta Prince. Again, one way to super is that super chat. We also have 50 people here. We should have more thumbs up buttons. Please consider hitting that thumbs up to continue getting us out to more people. Let's continue to roll, baby.
Yeah, so Pasta Prince, he doesn't feel good about starting Brady over Lance. And then he wants to know standard flex question, OBJ, Edmonds, or Mike Will.
Awesome question here, Pasta Prince. Good to see you, too. I know you've been showing up these last few weeks, so it's nice to see you again. I would feel more than okay starting Brady over Lance. As much upside as Lance has, we've been the biggest all preseason. My league winner was Trey Lance, and sadly, he just never got the shot to show that. I could see him showing it this week. Like, he could be a monster against Houston, running all over the place. All the reports are, and I'm just going to kind of go a little Trey Lance take here, just because I know we're going to get some questions on him. He's been all accounts in practice, whether it's the players, the coaches, the guy's taken another step over these last few weeks, they've said, and it looks far more consistent. So I get why Lance is attractive in the right matchup with these improvements, with those weapons. Like, could he go bananas? Of course he could. That being said, we got Brady with pretty much a full cast. Yes, he's lost Godwin, a huge absence here. I get that Brady's been kind of mediocre these last couple of weeks, 6 and 14 points. That's not great. I understand. Back-to-back 30-point efforts before that, though. And what Brady did, like we were talking about at the top here, this is the type of game where, like, Brady won't probably need to throw a lot, but they have all these incentives baked in for Gronk, baked in for AB. And we know Brady always loves to get his guys there. And Arians is not the type of coach that's like, no, we're not going to let you do that. Arians loves to keep the air under the rock. So I could see Brady, this kind of makes me think of that Miami game where they smashed Miami just a couple, in week 5. And Brady went for 4-11-5, even though they were up the entire time by multiple scores. Brady just kept hurling it. That's kind of the vibes I'm getting from this game against the Jets. They're, bottom graded secondary on every metric. The only reason they're not like giving up a ton of fantasy points to quarterbacks and receivers is because they get destroyed on the run so much. And that's the one, I guess, risk with Brady is what if Rojo has like 3 touchdowns and Brady throws for 1 today? Yes, I could see that. But I'm kind of feeling a monster like 355 touchdown Brady day. Might not happen. What's your kind of read on Brady after a couple 2 underwhelming weeks and then Trey Lance is the other option?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit that where I did like Lance. Obviously, we've been talking about him on DraftKings a bunch this week. But a championship game, I'm going with Brady. And he has the Jets, perfect matchup. Lance, sketchy. Shanahan still like hates him for some reason. I'm definitely going Brady there.
Yeah. I mean, it's who better to have in your championship than Tom Brady? Like it's just Tom Brady, like he delivers championships. It's what he does best. So I would not be benching him at all. In terms of your other question, Pasta Prince, OBJ, Edmonds, or Williams, I'm going to cut Williams out of this one. Like, could he blow up? Sure. I'm not going for that one. OBJ's like been kind of, he has that type of boom upside similar to Mike Williams, but he's also been finding that end zone with regularity with and we'll go to half PPR here. I don't know what you're scoring. Oh, standard flex. So we'll go to standard scoring where touchdowns are even more important. 14-9, 14-1, and 10 across his last 5 games. So one awful dud. Yes. Against Seattle. But otherwise, he's found the end zone in 4 of his last 5 games. That's as steady of an end zone presence for a wide receiver as you could really ask for. I could see this being the week. His yardage has been a bit underwhelming in that span. 37, 77, 7, 28, and an 81. So 2 pretty good yardage games, but otherwise a little bit underwhelming. But the way he's finding the end zone for a standard league, I got to ride that out. The only difference would be if we got word that Connor's going to be out. But as we talked about at the top here, they're optimistic he's going to be playing today. And now Edmonds gets a whole lot sketchier. I mean, last week, running back 6, 92% of the snaps, almost all the backfield touches. If we got that Edmonds this week, it'd be a question. You wouldn't be asking it, Pasta Prince. What sucks is that game's not till 4 o'clock, and they're already optimistic that he plays. So I'm going to roll out OBJ. I love him today. I think he has a monster game. That's where I'm leaning. What are your thoughts, CJ?
Yeah, I feel like I'm agreeing with you too much again.
I know. It actually worked out last week, though. Most of our agreements ended up being like pretty solid plays. So
It did, yeah. I'm going with OBJ just for the reasons that you listed.
Yeah.
And yeah, Connor likely being in does make Edmonds pretty useless.
I mean, he scores no touchdowns if Connor's in. Connor's been that touchdown maven all year. Edmonds did score last week, but like that was the first time he's even used at the stripe in like 3 years of being there, given that Connor was out. So with the scoring settings, with the way OBJ is playing, that's where I lean for sure. All righty, we've got a couple generous. We got Benny T tossed us a $5 one, and then Timothy Gray chucking us a nice $20. You guys are coming out big today. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Wolfpack.
So yeah, Ben Tomsick wants to see his Facebook for a comment about me. Talk about how good looking I am.
We'll get there.
He has Cup, AB, Debo, and St. Brown. Would you sit any of these for Dylan or Darrell Williams?
I don't sit any of the first three, obviously. I think it really comes down to St. Brown versus these running backs. Not for Dylan, but Darrell Williams does get intriguing here. St. Brown killed it last week with Boyle. So like that was great to see. The issue though is Swift's back now. It is still Tim Boyle. So, what if he just checks down to Swift and a lot of those easy catches go to St. Brown? Now, Khalif Raymond's out and the whole receiving core is kind of knocked out there. So I still feel pretty good about St. Brown. I don't know. It is full PPR as well. But Darrell also catches the ball a lot. I kind of lean Darrell Williams here unless you want the blow up. Like St. Brown has had 20 plus points in 3 of his last 4 games. That's a really hot hand. That's really tough to bench. But Darrell Williams with no Clyde Slayer has been very, very solid. Like the worst he's had is 9 points in PPR. The best he's had is like 28. So, I mean, there's also a ceiling to Darrell Williams with 2 of his 4 starts going for over 20. Full PPR wise, let me just pull up Darrell's outputs in those 4 games without Clyde Hilaire.
Yeah, I was initially leaning Darrell over St. Brown.
I think I am too. So full PPR, those games, it was 24, 8, 17, 11, and 29 in those weeks without Clyde Hilaire. I mean, that's pretty good in full PPR. That's like a similar ceiling. And then we're getting, that nice floor baked in. So I'm leaning Darrell Williams here, unless you really, really need that that huge 20. It has to be 20. But even then, Darrell has that upside. So I'm going Darrell myself. And do you agree with that? You said, CJ?
Yeah, that's when I first read it. That's what I was thinking too.
Here we go. I mean, the super chats are pouring in. I want to get to all these questions, but the Wolfpack is being too generous, and we not too generous. We love it. So not too generous. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much again. That holiday spirit, you guys are crushing it for us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, Tim Gray is asking. He said, "Happy New Year's, boys." In one league, Patterson or Burkhead, and then he has to sit Swift, Javonte, or Darrell Williams.
Man, this is tough. So for the sit, I do sit Javonte here. Coming off a dud week, the Chargers are a run funnel defense, but it's just I don't know how competent that offense is going to be. The one reason Javonte could be intriguing here is all the receivers being knocked out. He's been the lead pass catching back, so he could end up seeing like 10 targets, which would be insane. That being said, I love Swift today. I know there's some added risk to him, but most receptions, given up to running backs is Seattle. Positive script in that sense that he'll probably get a ton of dink and dunk. The second most points allowed. I'm going Swift. They say they're going to cut him loose. I buy that. Campbell's been pretty forward with that type of stuff. So then it comes down to Darrell or Javonte, and that's really close. I mean, I have Darrell 18, and I have Darrell 17 and Javonte 19. So I mean, they're as close as can be. That's really tough. I can't say I have like a strong leaning one or the other. I just feel like Darrell's more guaranteed to get 15 to 20 touches, whereas Javonte, it's just a sketchier workload. If he didn't score last week, he had 10, but he just barely scored. Like that. That's sketchy to bank on, in my opinion. I'd go Darrell and Swift. Do you feel any differently?
Yep. Once again, right with you.
Man, that's a tough one, though. Really tough. Now to go to the tougher part of this question, Jarrett Patterson or Burkhead. Ooh, that's gross. I mean, do we roll out CJ in the backfield this week, or do we go with Jarrett Patterson, the unknown? We have seen 11, 16, 22 carries across the last few weeks for Burkhead. 29 points last week was the running back 3. So, I mean,
that's absolutely absurd. But he usually has that one blow up a year.
Every year. Yeah, exactly. I'm usually on the pulse of it too. I did not get it last week, sadly. wouldn't even say to me. That's the sad part. It's like, I wish I had started him, but it wouldn't have made a difference. But for you, Tim, I kind of feel like Burkhead just riding that hot hand. Like, it's gross. It's not good, but Davis Mills has been moving the ball pretty well. I just, Jared Patterson, like, it's such an unknown. I remember, like, I keep getting nightmares back to, I don't even remember the guy's name, CJ, but we were at Fibbers. It was like the championship or semifinals, and there was a Detroit running back that was like in line to start some nobody. And we're like, all right, volume, go for this running back.
I remember.
And he had like 20 yards. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, the situation.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I forget the name.
Couldn't even tell you who the back
was.
I don't
even think he had like 4 carries either.
No, it was awful. And like, so, as intriguing as Patterson seems for the volume bet, like I can't go to that. So I'm going to go for Burkhead. I think that's where I'm going to lean. Yeah. He had such a big week, better bet to probably stumble his ass in the end zone, given that this offense has been pretty effective. I don't think my rankings reflect that. So I'm going to switch that as we're talking here, but I go Burkhead. I'm rolling you out, CJ. Is there any reason we should not put you in the backfield today over Patterson, or what are your thoughts?
No, I'm also rolling Burkhead too. I mean, coming off that, I didn't even know he was RB3 last week. Sheesh.
Yeah, how crazy.
But yeah, I'm gonna just stick with the hot hand and go with him.
Oh baby, Tim, I would say, if you're rolling in that type of mud, is Jordan Howard out there? Because I do think he's the safest bet of all these nobodies to find the end zone. So, like, is he a potential streamer? Is Howard or Scott out there? Because I would go to, as I said at the top of the show, I'd go to either Eagles back over these other kind of no-name streamers. But if not, I do think Burkhead gives you the best shot from these other options. So that's where I lean. Thank you so much again. It's very generous super chat. You guys are coming in really hot today with these super chats. So it is so greatly appreciated. So thanks so much for doing that. It does look like N'Keal Harry is also out today. Not that really matters, but just kind of tossing that out there. He did run a ton of routes last week with Aguilar out. That does mean, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, like against the Jags, one of them will probably find the end zone. It probably won't be Jacoby Myers. So I do think Bourne is in play today if you're looking for a desperate wide receiver 3. Let me just make sure I get Tim Patrick.
I love Harry like making one play in his entire life, and he just gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's as soon as it seems like I will give the guy some credit in the sense though he's been an awesome blocker for us. Like that's not why you take a receiver in the first round. It's not like any type of justification of him over AJ Brown or any of that crap, but he has been pretty good on running plays. So that's what you want from a first round receiver for sure. But just tossing that out there as I update my rankings here. Thanks again, Tim Gray, for Chillard, for Murray, for everybody tossing us these super chats, but especially these $20 super chats, which we've got another one from Kevin Drislane. Thank you again so much. Another monster super chat from you guys. Let's hit Kevin here.
Yeah, it says thanks to the great content all year. Patterson, has him watching a receiver. He needs 2 more between Cooks and Myers, Gabe Davis, McKenzie, Claypool. He loves Davis, but he's worried about him coming off COVID, especially with Cooks too. Half PPR.
Oh man, Kevin, a lot of good things to consider here. A lot of things to bring up with, like, we have seen these players coming off COVID, and Tyreek Hill last week. Like, if Tyreek Hill was at an awful play last week because of COVID, how do we go to fringe guys like Davis? I don't know though. It's obviously a different strain. You never know how it's going to impact somebody. We don't really have a read on how they look in practice, how they're moving. So it is so tough to which way do we go? How do we lean here? Of all these guys, so we need Patterson. I don't know if Patterson's 100% of a lock at wide receiver, given that he's seen like 2 targets on average these last few weeks. His role has really diminished. That early down grinder makes no sense to me. I have no idea why. He was one of the top playmakers in the NFL in his previous role, where he's averaging around 7 targets a game. And now he's just this touchdown or bust type of guy. I do think of all these options, he's still one of the best. If we're picking 3 receivers from this list, I probably go Cooks. I probably go as my favorite. I go Patterson as my next favorite. And then from there, I lean Gabe Davis. It sounds like you love him too. But McKenzie, we can't go there now with everybody back. Yeah, as great as he was last week. Unless there's any type of reports. Is there anything, CJ, about like McKenzie has earned himself a starting role this week, after his huge game?
Even then, though, I wouldn't believe that.
No. So I love Davis, just a playmaker of all playmakers here. It's half PPR. I was going to say full PPR Myers gets a little more intriguing, but with no touchdown upside in a game where the Pats might just run the ball 50 times. Like, I don't want to trust their receivers. So I'm leaning Cooks, I'm leaning Davis, and I'm leaning Patterson as my favorite three options here. I mean, there's the upside of Claypool on the Monday night, but he's been really like the last few games, he's been nothing. So I'd have a hard time going there. So I'm going Cooks, Patterson, Davis with three receivers. What are your thoughts, CJ?
Yeah, once again.
I don't know if it's a bad thing. Last week we were in lockstep, and we were actually pretty spot on last week. So knock on wood, our lockstep will be a good dance again this week. But yeah,
and
we'll
then
leave
he's
there.
asking about defenses: Cleveland, Chicago, Philly. I'd probably go Chicago there at home.
Yeah, especially with sacks being 2 points instead of one. Facing Fromm and Glennon, statues, awful quarterbacks in the pocket. Chicago's not a good defense, and that's always like a risky bet to like bet on a bad defense in a good matchup. But that's kind of what you're doing with these other ones. Like Philly's an okay defense, but in a good matchup, probably the best defense of all these. I'm not going Browns against Ben at home in his last game. Like, I know it's a stupid thing to bank on, but I kind of like that narrative of like Ben having himself an okay game, his last option at Heinz Field. I do love Chicago. Anybody against Fromm and Glennon, they give up like 30 points to the Eagles. They haven't scored more than 10 in I think 5 of the last 6 games. Like, I'm going with them. They're one of the best streamers of the week. So I'm locking in Chicago. And then for the receivers, again, Cooks, Patterson, and Davis is in order of how I would rank those guys. If you didn't want to deal with 2 COVID guys, potentially, Myers would be my next man up here. But I like the Patterson, Cooks, and Davis trio. And I think we're in agreement. Did you like Chicago the most of these options as well?
Yeah, definitely. Jake Fromm sucks.
He's somehow worse than Glennon, which I did not think was possible, but it was.
Yeah, and then Cam Mathanas, Waddle, Lamb, AJ Brown, pick 2 of these for the week, full PPR. Thanks, guys.
Whew. A lot of money on the line, Cam. I hope you win it. Thank you so much for the support here. With tossing us a super chat. You got 3 of my top 15 guys here. In full PPR, it does also make it even tougher because, AJB is my favorite. Like I have him locked in against Miami. I'm not taking him out here. After a 30-point day last week in his first game back, no way you can take him out in full PPR too. So 32 and 16 targets. I mean, they finally decided, let's turn this offense over to our number one playmaker. It was beautiful to see. And I don't see them going back on that. So I love AJ Brown today. He'd be my first man in here. Do you have any disagreement on that as like the top option? AJ Brown?
I feel like he's locked in, especially after last week.
Yeah. Then it comes down to Lamb and like Lamb versus Waddle. That is tougher in full PPR than most people might make it out to be. I do lean Lamb as just like the superior talent. In his last 6 games, 29 points, 4 points, 19, 15, 11, and 10. So like last 2 have been pretty underwhelming. Wide receiver 27 and 46, not great. Whereas we got Waddle just getting absolutely, smashed with targets. He's kind of like the Deontay Johnson of this division here. 12 targets, 10 for 92 and a touchdown, 25. The wide receiver 8. He's gone 21, 29, 18, and 25 in full PPR. Oh man, that actually is like tougher than I thought.
I was initially leaning Lamb because he always has the touchdown upside that you could break like a 70-yard score anytime. But I don't know. I didn't even know. I know Waddle's been great, but not that great.
Like that's insanity. And he's actually finding the end zone now. 3 of his last 4 games, he's got a touchdown in. Yeah, 21, 29, 18, 25 in his last 5. He's been top 15 for all 4 of those weeks. And now he gets Tennessee's second.
The Titans get pounded too.
They get the second most points to wide receivers. Yeah. I actually am leaning. The automatic gut reaction is like Lamb because he's coming into the preseason, all the hype he had and how talented he is as a player. But between the matchup, the production, like the clear number 1 role, I think it's Waddle here. I'm going Waddle, especially in full PPR. I'm going to adjust my rankings here. What are your thoughts?
I just saw like our brains change at the exact same time.
Yeah, like you watch it and you see how good Waddle is, but then you look at the actual numbers that he's putting up. It's like, holy shit, he really has been like even better than how he looks on the field, and it's just so highly used. Cam, as crazy as that is, I'm gonna go Brown and Waddle, and just hope for a back and forth kind of shootout game between those teams. I don't expect a shootout, but I also think those 2 are the engines of their passing game. Lamb is like, I think So I guess to summarize this one. All 3 of them have huge, like 25-plus point ceilings. I think the floors are safer with Brown and Waddle. And just like in general, the median projection of these guys these last few weeks is better with Waddle and AJ Brown, is what I meant to say. The floor is better with Brown and Waddle. Lamb has the biggest risk of disappearing and just like the lowest floor in general too. So I go Brown and Waddle. I think you said by the end of it, you agree with that, CJ?
Yeah, no, I initially was looking at Lamb and AJ Brown, of course, but yeah, you've changed my mind.
Yes. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you again so much for all those generous super chats. If you want to jump the line again, feel free to toss those on in there.
The $2 one from.
Oh yeah, we had one from Steve that got lost in there. Do you see?
Yeah, it's 11:28 a.m.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So Steven is asking, with Sanders out, would you go Gabe Davis or Boston Scott full PPR?
Pretty good one. I think I'm leaning Davis here. Scott's the better bet for like 12 to 15 touches, but I just love Davis. I mean, he is such a player. Every time he's locked into a starting role, he comes through. So I'm going to go Davis, the Atlanta matchup, big upside. That's where I go. Do you have any different feeling there?
Nope.
Yeah, we're big Gabe Davis podcast here. So that's where we're rolling for sure.
All right. So now we're
back to the top of the questions. Wolfpack, though, in all seriousness, thank you again so much. Like so many generous super chats. I think we just made like $200 in like a Sunday right here. The holiday spirit must be alive and well. Again, titles are coming your way. So I appreciate it so much. Your generosity means the world. If you want to jump the line again, please consider toss us another super chat if you haven't already. But man, it's not necessary. We'll do as much as we can. It is 12:07 now. We'll go till 12:45, and then we both have to get our own lineup set. So 45 more minutes answering all your questions. I will go rapid fire at about 12:30 to make sure we hit as many as we can. But thanks again so much for the support. If you weren't able to toss a super chat, not expected, not necessary, but a good, free, easy way with over 50 of you here. Thumbs up button does help us get out to more people as we go through all this mailbag to get through all your questions. Would be so appreciated. If you're new here, I saw a lot of new names. We're so close to 2K. Would be so appreciated. Hit that thumbs up button. And one last plug for Prize Picks. Code RSJ with $20+ deposit. We get a nice kickback, but they will match up to $100. And we gave you our top 5 picks. If at the end of the show we get through all the questions and you want to hear our picks again, we'd be happy to go through those. But one of our favorite apps out there, Prize Picks, code RSJ, up to $100 matched. Great way to support the pack. All righty, let's go, CJ. Top of the list here.
All righty. Fatty Mateo, I got a big RB2 problem, full PPR. I'm a 5-point favorite, currently rolling with Patterson, but I also have Ramondre, Burkhead, Wilson, Scott.
I kind of go Ramondre. I think the Pats, like I said at the top, might run it 50 times today. And Harris does come in a little banged up. He's going to be a great play. Harris is good. But I don't see that like Ramondre is completely crossed out here. They in the games where they're both healthy, 55% Harris, 45% Ramondre, 45% of the work in a 15-point favorite matchup against the Jags. I think Ramondre could easily find the end zone. That's where I'd lean just ahead of Boston Scott. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and especially with Harris too. I think he was. I know he was questionable. He wasn't technically a game time decision, but he really was. I think he was getting worked out by trainers or whatever. I saw that on Twitter today. So yeah, I'd roll with Ramondre with you.
Absolutely. So that's where we lean. Ramondre, I think he's going to be a nice bet for a touchdown here. Eat Powder, I saw you guys super chat here for us. $10. So generous. Thank you so much, Eat Powder. It doesn't look like you have a question here. If you do, we'll scan through really quickly to see if Eat Powder has like a question attached to this. But I don't see one. Just kind of saying thank you for all your hard work and entertaining podcasts. We're so pumped you found us. I think actually you came in on Thursday and told us you won your title already. First title of all time. So if that's right, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure you were the one saying that, Eat Powder. So cheers to you, man. If you're in your finals and you have a question, let us know. We'll be sure to hit that. But if not, thank you so much for the support. So appreciate it. Let's get back to the top for Fatty Mateo.
And he also needs a defense. Great options this week. Currently rolling with San Francisco. Other options are Saints, Buffalo, Chicago, Green Bay. I'd probably go Green Bay at home now. Chicago probably a close second.
I love all these options. You do have a ton of great options here. I kind of like Buffalo at home against Atlanta. Bad offense. Atlanta's projected for 15 points by Vegas, and I don't even know if they'll hit that. Buffalo's been like a weird defense where they give up a lot to good offenses, but when they clamp down, they really clamp down and have huge games. So I kind of sneaky like Buffalo here. I didn't, though, factor in yet in my D rankings Sean Mannion being at quarterback for the Vikings.
Yeah,
So I
that's
need to
what-
go back and do that because that obviously does impact things. And the Packers have been like a pretty good defense already. So yeah, I need to reconsider these Packers.
I think is Jair Alexander back this week?
No, they did activate him, but he's not going to be playing today. They just had to, or else the window would have closed. So I get that matchup too. But then you have the Saints against Sam Darnold, who's just a trash bag. Chicago, the best possible matchup against trash bags, Glennon and Fromm. I mean, it's a wealth of options, and you know how much of a dice roll defenses are anyways. I go Buffalo. You said Green Bay is your favorite, though, CJ?
Yeah, I'd probably go Green Bay, and then I love Chicago too. These are all really good options.
They're all great options.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go against Mannion on primetime in Green Bay.
There we go. So yeah, I like that. I mean, Mannion is, who knows what the hell he's going to do in the frozen tundra, nonetheless, of Green Bay tonight. So all great plays. But I go Buffalo. CJ goes Green Bay. I mean, Chicago does get Glennon though. You got to consider them all. You just got to ultimately charge your gut there. Charlie, what's going on, brother? What do we got from you? Thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, no question, just a comment.
You guys are legends. Just coming in, tossing money, supporting the site. This is it's got to be a record of super chats day for sure, CJ. Hell yeah. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for supporting your boys, your pack here, helping us reach that next level. Charlie, you're the man. You've been here all year with us. So best. Let's get the W. Best content on the planet. You're the man. Hell yeah, Charlie. Thanks so much. Big Sunday for you. 2 finals and a big third place game with some big money. Best of luck. Hope you take it down. Thank you so much for the support.
Then we got a kicker question from Fatty Mateo. Bucker or Jake Elliott?
Butker. I don't know. Kickers.
Jeff Lee, what's up, gents? Happy New Year. Have PPR pick one of these: Patterson, Justin Jackson, Keyshawn Vaughn, Derek Gore. I'd probably go Patterson in this group.
Yeah. We did talk about the upside of Vaughn, and I do want to just reemphasize the fact that if something happens with Rojo, if he fumbles or God forbid gets hurt or something, Vaughn against that defense will be unbelievable play. So I think the highest ceiling of all these guys is Vaughn. But if you got to go for the floor of like somebody's going to get 15 plus touches, it is Jarrett Patterson. So I do lean Patterson, but it is not by a lot. If you want like a sexier, higher upside dice roll, it is Vaughn, in my opinion.
Jeff Lee, start one of these quarterbacks: Burrow, Huntley, Taysom Hill.
Got to go Burrow. I mean, coming off 525 yards, shootout potential game against the Chiefs today, like a playoff atmosphere. I can't wait for that game. That game's going to be fun as hell. I got to go Burrow. If it's one of the others, it would be Taysom, but no, I like Burrow the most.
Jeff Lee, pick one of these half PPR, Colts D or Packers D. Packers for me.
I know CJ's high on the Packers, and there's no reason not to be. They're a great play. I actually think the Colts are one of these sneaky, underrated defenses of the week. They're actually number 5 for me in my rankings. We haven't seen the Raiders haven't put up over 14 points in back-to-back weeks, still without their top studs. And this Colts defense has the most turnovers in the league. I think we're getting a pick 6 for the Colts today. I'm going the Colts defense myself, Jeff.
Craig Sarno, what's up, boys? Championship week. Just seeing if you still like Rojo over Higgins and Montgomery.
Oh man, it's so tough, Sarno. I mean, all 3 of them are such great options. Montgomery is honestly the safest. Like, you're going to get 15, maybe 20 out of him, but like 15 lock in 70 plus yards and a touchdown. That's going to happen today. Just a matter of, does he score twice? Does he catch 5 balls to go with it? I just have a really hard time benching Rojo against this Jets team. I lean Rojo of all 3 of these guys, but it's really tough. What do you think, CJ?
Yeah, and we know I'm the world's biggest Rojo fan, so I'm going.
I would say this, Sarno. Rojo is the biggest risk in the sense of what we were kind of emphasizing earlier. If he fumbles or gets, like one little thing, mistake, a missed pass block or something, we know how short his leash is. So that has to be considered. But even then, I still think against the Jets, you're probably going to get 2+ touchdowns. I think Rojo has the biggest ceiling. Montgomery has the biggest floor. It's a matter of like, what do you really need at this point? They're all 3 are great options. I don't think you'll fail with any of the 3. I go Rojo myself, and CJ does too.
Aiden Dalmanian, happy New Year, gents. Let's start the year of Sean. You need to pick 2 of these 4: Edmonds, Michelle, Darrell Williams, Rojo, half PPR.
I'm going Michelle and Rojo. Great plays all around. If Edmonds was the only guy, if Connor was ruled out, this would get a whole lot tougher. Darrell Williams, just like we've already hyped him up, and I really do like him a lot. But the other guys have been just rolling lately in good matchups today. So I'm going Rojo and Sony. Do you feel any differently?
Nope, right with you.
There we go.
Yosoi Tony, Swift or Javante, full PPR, and then Bears or Saints D.
Good morning, Tony. I'm going Swift. I really love Swift today. I think he's going to get peppered. Again, they're cutting him loose against Seattle. Risk of re-aggravating something, of course, exists there. But Javante is tough to trust. Bears versus Saints, I mean, probably got to go with the people facing Glennon and Fromm there, right?
Yeah, I'm with the Bears today.
There we go.
Giuseppe, good morning, fellas. Pick 2, 1 receiver in a flex, half PPR. Eli Mitchell, Darrell Williams, AJ Dillon, Renfro, St. Brown.
Whew, a lot of good options here.
I think I'm going the first 2 running backs.
Yeah. Well, so one of them has to be a receiver because it's for the wide receiver position. I do go Renfro over St. Brown. You know, he found the end zone last week. I know he hasn't been hitting the ceiling these last couple of weeks, but, you know, St. Brown has been the ceiling play too, but I still go Renfro over him. I just trust Carr more than I trust Boyle. Do you feel differently about that?
No, I'm once again right there with you.
Yeah. And then for the flex, though, this is tough between like Mitchell, who's now like, you know, locked in to go, versus Darryl. I do have Mitchell at 15 and Darryl at 17. So they're you know, very, very close. But I have Mitchell higher. That matchup against Houston and how good he's been all year. Plus with Trey Lance at quarterback, you know, if they can run the ball all day, they're going to try to. So I go Mitchell and I go Renfro. Do you disagree on the running back front, or are you also in agreement?
No, it was between Eli and Darrell for me, and I'm going to go with Eli.
Yeah. Unless we get some word in these next like 30 minutes, Giuseppe, and I know you'll be tracking these like specific players closer than us. If we get any word that like Mitchell might be at a snap count or anything, then we take him down. But the last report was from Kyle Shanahan, we will work him as much as he can handle. And Mitchell's the type of guy that like loves to just stay in. He's tough as hell. He won't tap out. So I think we're going to get like 20 plus touches from him. And against Houston, that's gold.
Giuseppe Russo is asking OBJ or Mitchell for the flex.
Man, OBJ is one of my favorite plays of the day, but I think I'd go Mitchell if I had to choose between the two. Would you feel any differently?
No, I prefer the running back usually.
I usually do too. I mean, I do think OBJ is going to blow up today, though. Oh, that's really tough. It is safer to go Mitchell unless you were a severe underdog, Giuseppe. I go Mitchell here.
Campanelli, hey, Wolf and CJay, Happy New Year. And all those that are in the ship, good luck.
Hell yeah. Thank you, David. Happy New Year to you. Best of luck today.
Giuseppe, Renfro, or St. Brown. He kind of asked that above.
Oh, yeah. He asked that one above at YouTube.
Danny Jennings, good morning. Wolf and CJay, Knox, Landry, or Gallup for the flex. Happy to.
I would go. Good question, Denny. I always go Knox, and it really does not let me down very often. He's such a good touchdown threat, and now he gets Atlanta. I mean, that seems like a great spot for him. Do you feel differently on Landry or Gallup, though?
I think I'm feeling a Gallup touchdown today. That game's going to be fun, I think.
That is going to be a fun one. Arizona versus the Cowboys. Another player. There's some good matchups, like real-life football-wise today. And that's definitely one of them. I totally could see a big Gallup day in that sense, but I'm going Knox. CJ goes Gallup. Let us know, Danny Jennings, who you decide.
Bill Jagir, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday indeed, Bill Jagir. Good luck. I think he's in the Family Football League facing Dan, who's like the villain of the league. So we definitely are all pulling for Jagir. Dan was at Old Planners too. They all were. So thanks again for being there last weekend, gents. And best of luck against Danny this weekend. I hope you take it down.
Jeremiah Moore, any prize picks? That was from 11, so you have a touch.
Yeah, I think we already went over those for you. But just to reemphasize again, go to RSJ Prize Picks, $100 match up to it. If you go $20 or more, we get a good little kickback. It is so greatly appreciated. I think my favorite one is Matt Stafford over 19 fantasy points. I do like pairing that up with OBJ over 11. I don't think that's quite the lock of that, but that's my personal favorite. Did you have a personal favorite you wanted to emphasize, CJ?
Yeah, I'm going Rojo touchdown.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely.
There's a bunch of great touchdown scores there.
I know. The one, that happened with James Robinson last week was the Achilles tear. Like, how could you ever predict that? But that was kind of like the lock of the week, which sucks. So none of these are ever locks, but if everything unfolds as it should, both those guys are great bets.
And then we got Michael Dijonji. PPR need 2 of these. Rashad Bateman, Ayuk, Gabe Davis, Patterson.
I like Gabe Davis the most of all these. I really don't like Patterson today. Maybe he goes off. I just get really hesitant to trust these backup running backs in crucial moments here. So I kind of go, I think I go Ayuk. Like, I don't love him either.
Yeah,
Trey
I
Lance
was
makes it
I was
worse here.
back and forth on him. I didn't know if I was going to look at his prize picks, yardage today. And I don't know. He didn't do much with Lance's 2 appearances this year. But
Well, Lance only played 1, and that was when like Ayuk was still like doghouse Ayuk.
yeah, that's true.
So I don't want to judge that. And Lance apparently, all practice reports, has come along a ton of way. Yeah, the arm strength of him. Like, if I'm going for a Hail Mary here, I'd rather go for the Davis and Ayuk. Both are like 50+ yard touchdown. Like, could just like flip your matchups at any point. I don't want 15 useless carries of Jarrett Patterson for like 45 yards. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. Bateman is the wild card too, because he does play a lot better with Huntley than he does Lamar. But I lean Ayuk and Gabriel Davis. You feel similar?
Yeah, I'll go with you there.
There we go. And guys, we got over 40 in here. Only 20 likes on Facebook. I know a lot of those are on YouTube. Regardless of where you're at, or Twitter, if you want to smash that heart button wherever you're at, that thumbs up button does continue to help us to grow. We get a lot of questions on this on Twitter after the fact, so I do want to emphasize, if you're with us on Twitter, I put it at the bottom there, but those questions no longer show up in our stream. We use StreamYard, and since they switched from Periscope, those don't show up anymore. I don't know why, but if you are questioning sit starts on Twitter, I'm not ignoring you, I promise. They just don't show up for us anymore. So pop on over. I put the link at the top of my Twitter today for the YouTube stream. Pop on over there if you're on Twitter and you feel like we're ignoring you. We're not. We promise. Come on over to YouTube and we'll make sure to hit you.
Jeremiah's asking where you have Taysom Hill ranked.
QB 14. Good rushing upside. Did have only 9 points last time out there. That game in general just feels gross to me. Like, I could see them combining for like 25 points, both those offenses. So I don't love him, but could he run into scores? Absolutely. So I have him neck and neck with like Tyler Huntley. I'd rather go to Trey Lance though. If we're like in that range of QBs, give me Trey Lance all day.
Zane Jennings, Happy New Year. Let's bring on those championships. I'm playing for a third. Me too. It's not a place to be in.
I know, that's where I am too, Denny. But best luck in your third place game. I have like $300 on the line still. So, we got some money on the line. Let's do it.
It's true. Bill Jagier, happy Sunday. Who wants to deliver me a trophy more, Damian Harris or Rashad Penny?
Ooh, that's a good one. I know last week we went Harris. It worked out. You got 3 touchdowns. So it is really tough for the fantasy locker room to see a 3-touchdown monster then get benched. I mean, they might question their owner there. That all being said, I have Penny higher. I mean, he's facing Detroit. He's got 130+ rush yards in 2 of his last 3 games. A little bit more risk with, like, we always say this with Penny. How many times have we put him in there, been lasered focused, love him, and then he gets hurt in the first play of the game, and like, fuck. That's the risk with Penny. So, like, again, it comes down to, like, what do you want more? You know Harris is going to get 80 and a touchdown. Maybe he gets 2, and he's a monster. But now that Ramondre's back, I am a little skeptical because all year it's been a 55-45 split. I shouldn't say all year, but when they kind of like Ramondre got worked in those 4 weeks or so, when they were both healthy, it was 45-55 favoring Harris, and he was always the one getting the first crack. He's going to score. He's going to do well against the Jags, but I really love Penny today against Detroit. What's your read on this? This is a really tough question.
Yeah, I had Penny locked into my DraftKings lineups like all morning, and then I took him out. So I mean, that's a good sign. That's a good blow up sign. So I'm rolling Penny against myself.
Who did you take him out for?
Well, I found a way to get Taylor in there. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's. I really think we're like a 40-point Taylor day today. Like I said at the top here. So if I'm paying up on DraftKings, it's like between him and Cup of the 9K guys. I'm contrarian in the sense that I'm going for Taylor. It's sketchy, but yeah. So we're both going Penny here. Bill Jagier, let us know what you decide. That's sketchy. That's tough. That's a really hard one, but I'm going Penny.
Angel needs to trade for a running back for the championship game. Dynasty League. It's kind of late for that, isn't it? Should I trade J-Rob and Connor in a first rounder for Eckler?
That's a pretty hefty price, Angel. I don't think I would do that. Like, I want you to win your title today, but that is, a big mortgage. Granted, Robinson, Achilles, who knows what's going to happen there. Connor, obviously the best possible situation this year. Free agent, who knows where he goes.
It sounds like he'd have to just grab something gross off the waiver wire is what it seems, so he's really desperate.
Yeah, well, he could use James Conner too, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, man, if you got that shot at the title, if you think you're a good bet, like, it also depends on your opponent, right? Like, if you're locked to win with Eckler today, at the end of the day, like, I get you're giving up a lot of your future, but you play to win the titles. So like, if you think you have a really good shot with Eckler above a 60-40 shot, then I pull that trigger. Because Eckler is like, that also means you probably have Eckler for your future. He's still got another like 6 years of being a good RB1, most likely, an elite RB1. So at the end of the day, I probably actually do this trade, unless you're like an underdog, regardless of whether you have Eckler or not. Then I wouldn't mortgage your future. You know, how high is the first rounder? Does that depend on how you finish this year? There's a lot at play here. But ultimately, if you think you're going to win, you have a better 60-40 shot with Eckler, I pull that trigger and I go for it.
Mike Clay wants to know where Gabe Davis falls in the rankings, though.
Wide receiver 29, right inside the top 30. I love him. Love firing up today. I really do. It's a risk. He could disappear, but I think they're going to put up. How many touchdowns is Josh Allen going to throw today? Like 5? You know, Gabe Davis is definitely going to catch at least one of them.
Droid is asking Huntley, Kyler, or Trey Lance.
I like Kyler there. I mean, he's the one that got you here. It's risky because he hasn't been that great without Hopkins, but that game has like playoff atmosphere, shootout style. The Cowboys defense has been so good this year. But I still like Kyler there over the other two. Do you think that's viable?
I'm staying with Kyler.
Yeah, stick with your guy here. If he was hurt, if he was dinged up, like okay, but there's nothing like wrong with him right now. He looked pretty nimble on Christmas Day. He was running around the place. So yeah, I'm sticking with Kyler here. Yeah, that's where we're rolling.
Probably have to hurry it up a little bit. We have a ton of questions. Adrian, Happy New Year. Should I start St. Brown or Renfro, and then in the flex, Mitchell or Darrell Williams?
We're getting a couple of St. Brown Renfros, and so far we've been going Renfro every time these last couple of weeks. And honestly, we've been wrong because St. Brown has just continued to get it done, defy the expectations. I'm still going Renfro though. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Renfro myself.
And then what's the other one?
Flex, Mitchell or Darrell Williams?
Sony Michel. Yeah, we're going Sony Michel there. Or is Eli Mitchell?
No,
Sorry, Eli Mitchell. We're going Eli Mitchell too. We're going either one of those guys over us, over Darrell.
Tim Gray has to choose between Patterson and Burkhead.
We answered that in the super chat. Thanks again so much for your support.
Jagier, half PPR. I need to bench one of these horses: Najee, Rojo, Montgomery. I feel dirty sending Najee to the bench.
It's a dirty move, but I have him lower than the other two. I do, and he's been pretty sketchy these last couple of weeks. I talked about this on the Thursday preview stream that, you know, Najee is my lower of the week for running backs, one of them at least, if you have elite options like this. And in which case, I think you do. I bench Najee here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's between Montgomery and Najee, and I'll bench Najee.
Oh, man, it's close. Again, Rojo is the riskiest of these three, given, like, what if he fumbles? But you can't play that what-if game. Like, what if anything happens on any given Sunday? So, yeah, we're benching Najee. Crazy.
Pat Sullivan playing for third, and Dak has me nervous against Arizona. Should I start Trey Lance or Dak? I'm sticking with Dak.
I would stick with Dak, yeah, especially after last week, like 330 and like 4 touchdowns and a half, especially if this game stays competitive. Dak has all the upside in the world.
Daniel Holland, JT or Michelle?
I got to go JT. I mean, come on now. JT. I get last week it flipped, but like Raiders defense, great matchup. They're down multiple linebackers too. You never bench JT. Come on, Howland. I feel dirty even pulling that question up.
No, I did. I was trying to think if there was another JT.
I was like sitting there like, what? No way. This is a question.
Brian Fitzpatrick for the ship. Wentz or Carr quarterback, and then Patterson, Sutton, Claypool at the flex. Standard.
Oh God. So like no Trey Lance, no Tyler Huntley, Brian. Like both those guys, Taysom Hill, all 3 Russian quarterbacks out there in a lot of leagues. If one of them is out there, I go them easily over Wentz or Carr. If you have to do Wentz or Carr, I'd go Carr. I don't really like either of them, but Wentz coming off COVID, like they're gonna run JT as much as they can without having to rely on Wentz this week. So I don't trust him at all. Sutton or Claypool in the flex. I actually kind of like Sutton myself with everybody else knocked out there. What do you think, CJ?
Do you care about Patterson? No. He's in that question too.
Oh, Jarrett Patterson?
Yeah.
No, I don't care about Patterson now.
Yeah, I think I'm going Claypool. We talked about Sutton earlier. He is the only player there really, but I just can't trust him.
I like Sutton this week. I had him in this a lot of leagues this year, and he was awesome when Judy was out. So I'm just banking the dice on him. Previous good rapport with Locke. Who knows how it will go, but I'm liking Sutton today.
Anthony Deggs, full PPR, need 3 of these. Jefferson, Chase, Debo, Waddle, AJ Brown. Jeez.
A lot of good options here. Stacked roster here, Deegs. So let's get through it. I go Debo is my favorite. We talked about Waddle, how good he's been full PPR. This, at the top, we said like you can't bench Justin Jefferson. This might be one of those situations where like his floor is lower than Waddle, then Debo, then AJ Brown. I probably bench Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase here. What do you think?
I think Chase was my first bench, definitely. I don't know. I was leaning Debo, but then I feel like Shanahan will have him do some stuff just to like make life easier.
Does. He's always so
involved. Just to like make life easier for Lance too.
Yeah.
I guess with Mannion at quarterback, I'll say Jefferson.
Man, that's crazy. I did say it'd be almost impossible to bench Jefferson, but Deegs, however you say your name, you have found the question of benching him. That's the one.
Medina, Burrow, or Herbert?
That's great. That's a good one. I think I just keep riding the hot hand of Burrow there myself.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you there too.
Oh man, that's tough. But yeah, we're going Burrow.
Evan Buss got multiple championships today. Let's get this money.
Hell yeah, baby. Let's get the money, Buss. I'm pumped to hear that you're in multiple ships. You're a fucking legend, Buss. Let's go.
You wish, bud. Monra or Brandon Cooks for the receiver 2. I'm going Cooks there. And then Mitchell or Gronk in the flex.
Yeah, I'm going Cooks. And I am going Mitchell here. I do always trust a running back over a tight end. I do want to keep emphasizing, though, especially like DFS-wise, I think Gronk, 3 touchdown incentive between now and the end of the year. Brady's going to be trying to get his guy those scores. Could have all 3 of them today. So, I mean, there is a really huge Gronk ceiling today, especially in full PPR. I'm leaning Mitchell for safety, but, man, if you want that blow-up, like, Gronk does have the higher ceiling. I'm going Mitchell, and I'm going Cooks, though. Do you disagree?
No, Cooks was my lock. And then would you go St. Brown over Mitchell?
No, I'm going Mitchell there, too. I'd go Gronk over St. Brown.
True. Tunes playing for third. I need a running back 2 and a flex. Patterson, Darrell Williams, Foreman, Penny, Ayuk, Van Jefferson, Hunter Henry.
Man, RB2, I think you got to go. I go Darrell over Patterson. I do. Patterson's just been sketchy lately, touchdown or bust. I go Penny, though, as the best option here. So flex, then you flex in Darrell. So I go Penny and I go Darrell here. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right with you.
There we go. We're getting close to 12:35. I'll go rapid fire for the final 10 minutes coming up. But Wolfpack, if you want to jump the line, easy way to do it is that super chat button. When we hit 12:45, it is going to be a pretty hard stop. So if I don't get to you, I apologize. We typically do get to all questions, but so many generous super chats today that cause us to kind of reflect and take longer answers, which is great and so appreciated. But we do, obviously, the people that are supporting us in that sense do get the priority. It is how it goes. So I will try to hit everything in a fast, rapid fire, but we might not get to you. So if you want a guaranteed answer, please consider using that super chat now.
Should Rob Moreno trust AB in his flex with his ankle or play it safe with either Zeke or Damian Harris?
I'd probably stick with AB here. I know it's risky. If you were going to bench him, if you wanted somebody safer, I do think Zeke's also in a really good spot. He's been looking better.
I think I would go Zeke here.
I think, you know what? I saw a stat that he logged like his fastest carry since like week 4 when he was officially healthy last week. So he seems to really be rounding into form. He's such a good touchdown bet every week. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with you here. I want to talk myself into AB, but he is riskier today. So I'm going to go Zeke. I'm with you.
Jack Mahalik. Wolfie, I'm rocking with Dallas defense over Miami. Feeling good about it. Last question, Eli or Penny, half PPR. Also has Taylor, so looking for ceiling.
I'd
go Penny here.
I'm going Penny, and I like the call. I like Dallas. Obviously it's a tough call with the sense that they're facing, Arizona, one of the better offenses in the league, but that offense has not been that good lately. And that defense has, I looked at it, their last few games, CJ, it's fucking insane. I know we're talking about Diaz, but I've gotten so many questions about Dallas throughout the week. So I just want to emphasize this. Over their last 5 weeks, 17, 22, 16, and 24 fantasy points in their last 4 weeks. That's insane from a defense. And that coincides with them all getting healthy, with Lawrence coming back, with obviously Michael Parsons been just insane. Yeah. Gregory, like this D line is insane, and that line's not great for the Cardinals. So I love the Cowboys this week. Absolutely.
Eduardo, Huntley or Trey, and then as a flex, DK or Elijah Mitchell.
I'm gonna go. I like I like
I'm
Trey.
going
I like Trey Lance.
and then Mitchell. DK.
And I like Mitchell. Yep, I'm with you exactly. I don't trust DK at all right here. So I'm going Trey and I'm going Mitchell.
Jared Weissman, Pat PPR, Sony, or Rojo.
I like Ronald Jones here, but that's as close as it gets. 8-6. So I go Rojo. Do you feel same?
Of course.
There we go. All righty, guys. I am gonna go rapid fire here. If CJ, you hear anything that seems like awful, just let me know. But I'm just gonna go as fast as I can to try to get as many till 12:45. At 12:45, I'm gonna set a 10-minute timer here. Because I got a couple lineups myself. So if you want to jump the line, you want a more in-depth answer than what I'm about to give with this rapid fire, super chats are one way to do it. But as we go, Wolfpack, thumbs up button does help. We're so close to 2K. I know we got a few of you guys already in this broadcast, but please consider helping us get to that goal of 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year. This season would be so appreciated. All righty, Wolfpack, here we go. Rapid fire time. I'm going Kirk over Gage. Keenan Allen, Chase, Lamb, Jefferson, Deontay, Andrews, sit 2 for my man Fella, who is facing off the 2 Wolves again, facing off in the finals. I love to hear it. I'm going to lock in that's a really tough one, but I'm probably sitting Keenan and Jamar Chase here is where I'm leaning for the sit there. Pittman, no, he's not worth a shot over those other guys. Thank you again for the super chat, Wes. Mitchell or Wilson, or you got to go Eli Mitchell, no doubt, Mike. Javonta or AB, I'm going AB in full PPR. Those 15 targets, like you said, Noah, absolutely. Brown, Gabriel Davis, Christian Kirk, pick 2. I'm going Brown and I'm going Kirk. I do love Davis today, but I'm going Kirk. What up, Gary? What up, chat? Let's get those ships. Absolutely, Gary. Team shit out. There's the other one that's Firster and Feller are facing each other. I love to see it. Dare or whatever from Jackson. Oh, man, this is horrible. I'm going Gabe Davis, 100% there. We do miss you, by the way, Firster. I appreciate your Paulie, but we love you. Thanks for being back here. Valdez Scantling, half PPR. Higgins, AB, Keenan, St. Brown, Rojo, Sony. Start 2 receivers, 1 flex. For 2 receivers, I'm going to go AB and Higgins. And for the flex, I am going to go Rojo. Whew, tough one. Eli or Najee. I'm going Najee, really close. And yes, you definitely start Kamara there. Rogers over Burrow for me. Yep, he's been riding real hot. New Orleans, Green Bay, Miami, all great options here. I lean New Orleans. I know CJ loves Green Bay, though. DT is a great good luck ad for sure. Moreau or wide receivers, Gage or Gallup. I would go Gage over all those options. What up, Trey? Good to see you. Pick 1 for the flex. Pittman, Chase Edmonds, or Eli Mitchell. I'm going Eli Mitchell there. Sanders is out today. Thank you for that, Joe. A lot of the chat coming in with that, so much appreciated. Sarah Riley, flex, Evans, Patterson, Penny. I'm going Penny there against that Detroit defense. They're abysmal. Aloha, good to see you. Maybe this is our graphic designer coming in with a fancy question here. Great Hawaiian graphic designer. She's been crushing it for us. I go Zeke over Javonte, though, a great touchdown bet. Gabriel Davis versus Atlanta in the snow, or D Foreman again. Oh, you got to go Gabriel Davis, in my opinion. Prescott or Hurts. I'm going Hurts. He just destroyed Justin. Where the hell were you? I shouldn't even answer any questions for J Mars. Didn't show up last week to the event. So you know what? Fuck off, J Mars. But I go Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Hurts. Penny or you got to go Penny there, Michael. Come on now. Justin Jefferson or Van Jefferson. You got to stick to Justin there over Van. Antonio Brown. I think you definitely start him. Absolutely, Connor. I know the ankle's a little sketchy, but 15 targets last week. Insanity. What up, Amari or Amon-Ra? That's a really close one. Those guys are neck and neck for me. I do lean Cooper in this like playoff style, shootout style game is where I go. Stick with Prater or pick up Bullock, Boswell, McPherson. I kind of like, I don't love Prater, Sarah. I'm not going to spend a lot. I'm going to go maybe Boswell. I don't know. It's a kicker question. I was depressed to find out no prize picks. Damn, Giuseppe. Hate to hear it. Boys Fantasy Championship. Thank you, Willard, for that generous super chat. We really appreciate that. Abady, Burrow, or Huntley. I'm going Burrow all day. Riding that hot hand. Darrell Williams, Swift, Ronald Jones, start 2. I'm benching Darrell Williams there. What up, Murray? Thank you again so much for that super chat. Lamar is officially out. Thank you, Ben. Deontay or Tyreek. I got to go Tyreek there. I can't ever bench Tyreek, in my opinion. D. Williams or Edmonds. I'm going D. Williams. Binky Ruby. Thank you again, Murray, for that super chat. I think we answered all those, going for 2 ships, all that. Vaughn, yeah. So this is Willard commenting a lot of the people that were rostered. So we'll jump over those. Eli Mitchell or Penny. I'm going Penny, but it's really close. It's 14 and 15 for me, Sebastian. I would go Zeke over both, though. Then we jump to Denny Jennings, streamer for Chilled. He likes Gainwell. Maybe he's out there. I don't know, but I still like some of the other guys we talked about more. PPR, bench one, Rojo, Monty, Aaron Jones, and Mixon. Oh, my God. I think I bench Aaron Jones, which is crazy, but he's the only one that's like somewhat in a committee of those four guys. Not Dallas. B. Cooks, A.J. Brown, Josh Jacobs, Saquon, DK, Eli Mitchell, Pittman, Sony. Pick four, I'm going Sony, A.J. Brown, Cooks, and Eli Mitchell there for you. Connor, Jarrett Patterson, McLaurin, start two. I'm benching Patterson. I don't want to trust him today. Cordell Patterson, Sutton, or AB in the flex. We're going AB there. Connor Leahy. Pick three, Damian Harris, Nick Chubb, Swift, Rojo, Devin Singletary. We're going Chubb. We're going Swift. We're going Rojo. Great options there. Wow, Fusion. Brain stinks as ham, Murray. Patterson, Hubbard, Howard, and Carter. Oh, so back to your question. Now we add Howard to that mix. I actually kind of like Howard over Carter to fall into the end zone, Murray. I didn't realize we had this follow-up question. To get back to your $50 super chat, what do you think of Howard versus Michael Carter, CJ?
I'm going Carter. I mean, it's just more guaranteed work.
CJ goes Carter. I go Howard falling into the end zone. Unless it's full PPR, then I'd change my tune here. Sit one at flex. ODB, Edmonds, Mitchell. I'm sitting Edmonds there with Connor likely back. Mike Evans, Russell Gage, or Boyd. You got to go Mike Evans there. Penny or Patterson? Definitely Penny. Howard or Carter was the question, but I'm an idiot. Fuck. So hopefully you're still here with us. Murray, I'll make sure to text you either way. But I go Howard, CJ goes Carter, so I guess we're split. That really comes down to the gut. But I do like Howard falling in the end zone against Washington. Matt Jones, Tannehill, Taysom Hill, Lance. I go Taysom Hill. No, you know what? I go Trey Lance there. That's a Trey Lance week type of question right there, Connor Leahy. Patterson, Dare, Osborne, or Muth, standard. I'm going to go Muth for the touchdown midnight. Penny, Gabe Davis, Boston Scott, Penny, Mike Clay. Keenan or Waddle. I got to go Waddle there. McLaurin or D. Smith. McLaurin, but I don't love it. Maybe you go Gabe Davis there if you have that option. Hey, bro, need an opinion. Start two, Pollard, Marquise, Gallup, and Gallup. So two Gallups there. I'm actually benching both Gallups for Pollard and Marquise. Mike Evans or Devonta. Mike Evans, Taco Dude. Half PPR for our man, DJ Johnson. Very generous super chat last week. Edmonds, Mike Williams, Foreman, Justin Jackson. I'm gonna go Edmonds and just hope he gets some more work after last week's blow up. Bench one, Najee, Ronald, CD, Keenan, AJ, or Elijah Mitchell. I'm gonna bench Keenan out of that. True. Wolf CJay. Sorry for the mess up. You have Deontay rolling him. Question at running back, Jordan Howard versus Carter. Sorry, it's covered in newborn shit. I guess it's a good reason to be typing up tough stuff. I'm going to go Howard for the touchdown. CJ said he likes the guaranteed work of Mike Carter. Murray, sorry to miss your follow-ups here, but hopefully you're still here with us, brother. I do like Howard to plunge in the end zone today, though. What up, Ben? Been busy, hasn't been able to tune in, but it was breathtaking to see CJ again and great to meet you at Old Planners. It was great to meet you. I'm off to work again today in order to save up my hair transplant so I can get a beard. Looks half as good as Clark Kent, a.k.a. CJ. Man, Toxic. You're going to make me lose my breath laughing over here. Much appreciated, as always, for the good giggles. Full PPR, Flex Pollard or Davis. I like Davis there. Campanelli. Thanks again for your generous super chats, Cam and Kevin Drislane. Moyne, 1, 2, 3. Pick two. Swift, Penny, Elijah, Mitchell, Singletary. And Packers or Colts defense. I go Colts, but I think both are great options. And then I'm going to go Swift, and I'm going to go Penny there. Great options all around. Eagles or Philly. They're the same team, Giuseppe. Packers or Philly. I'm going to go Packers very slightly. Jacobs or Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones for sure. Keenan over Mike Williams for me. Gage versus McLaurin. I go McLaurin. Hunter Henry or Higbee Henry. Eli Mitchell, Jacobs, Ronald Jones. I'm benching Jacobs there. Start two receivers. I don't know what the receivers were, Steven. Super chat. There you go. Thanks for using code RSJ when you deposited. Start two receivers. A.J. Brown, Renfro, Osborne. No Osborne now. I'm going A.J. Brown. I'm going Renfro there. Caesar, stop fucking blowing up the chat. Penny or P. Parker. Penny, for sure. Rojo, Gronk, and AB. Yeah, because they're facing the Jets. Absolutely. Saquon or DJ Moore. Saquon, but I don't love it. Javante or Penny or Stevenson. I'm going Penny, Steven Hernandez. Need defense. Cowboys, Bears, Saints, or Colts. I like the Colts actually the most, which is crazy. Pick 1. Cooks, Gage, Beasley, Boyd, Ertz, AJ Green. Going Brandon Cooks for sure, Vega. MVS become a better play over Jefferson? No way. That's when you're getting too cute. Going for the ship. Hell yeah, eat powder. Good stuff. Marquise Brown or Dare? I'm going Marquise Brown, Garrett. Come on now. Struggling for a tight end this week. Pick 1, full PR. Everett and Uzuma or Muth. I actually love Everett against Detroit. Today's my tight end 11. I know it's Aaron Rodgers, but the weather and no Cousins. I still go Rodgers, no doubt. Debbie East. Could you pick 2 full PPR? Chase Edmonds, Damian Harris, Devin Singletary. I'm benching Edmonds there. Let's get the win Wolfpack. Hell yeah, let's go, Steven. Half PPR, flex play. Mike Evans or James Conner. I'm going Mike Evans there. Half PPR. Everett over Higbee for me, Steven. And then I'm going to go St. Brown and Darrell Williams. Steven, I'm benching Pittman there. 199 for sit. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, you got your question here. Here it is. Pick 2 for PPR flex in the finals. We got Parker, Penny, Edmonds, and OBJ. I'm going OBJ and I'm going Penny sit. I love them both today. I think both have huge ceilings and solid floors as well. That was my 10-minute timer. So I'm scanning here. We've got a couple more super chats. Philly D or Packers D. I'm going Packers myself. Renfro or OBJ. I'm going Renfro very slightly because of the full PPR. But it is very, very close. Steven Drake's Jarrett Patterson, full PPR. I don't love him at all. I don't know who the other option was, Steven. I'm trying to scan through and find it, but you didn't give another option. I just don't want to trust him with my title on the line. A couple $2 super chats. I would have jumped to these ahead of time, but they don't pop up like we said at the top. So I'm just making sure to get him. Crescent Cannon, Jones, Singletary, Michelle, and Jacobs. I'm going Michelle and Ronald Jones there. Flex, Edmonds, Zeke, St. Brown, Lamb, Moreau, Fant, Schultz. I am going to go Zeke over all those other options there. All righty, guys. Best of luck. We got to get running here. Thank you so much for all those generous super chats. Wolfpack, my rankings are updated at rosestreetjournal.com. We breed and feed fancy wolves. We got to go get our lineups locked in, though. So thanks again so much for spending your Sunday mornings with us here. For all those generous super chats, you guys are awesome. Hopefully, you guys get those titles. We'll be back live next week to hear how everything went. Look at 2022 and all those interesting rankings coming up. But best of luck, boys and girls. Thank you so much. Cheers to getting those titles here in 2022. CJ, any parting words for the Wolfpack?
Nope. Thank you for everything.
Animated as always.
Yep. Thank you for everything, and good luck today.
All righty, guys. Thanks again so much. Best of luck, Wolfpack. Until next time, next week, we'll see you live. Cheers.